Hello, I am Bethany Hawkins, and I am so excited to talk to you about my new group project, Voice Your Vision. And if you do not know me, if you've only seen me on these internet streets, I get my energy truly and utterly from engaging with other people. And then I need to take a long nap to regain my energy from the energy of other people. So actually coming on here and doing a live by myself without somebody that I can banter with or have shenanigans and tomfoolery and ballyhoo is truly me stepping outside of my comfort zone. So you're witnessing this in real time. My belly has all sorts of bubbles, and my hand may be a little bit shaky, but I am here and I am doing it because I think that this immersive group is so important and it's going to help you get that podcast that you need, want, and desire before 2024 ends and before another year goes by without you saying, "Oh, was going to create that podcast, but no, now you can look back on December 30th, December 31st. How many days are in December? I don't know. And say, I was going to create that podcast in 2024, and I did. So let me tell you about why I ended up creating Voice Your Vision. So for the past 5 years, myself and my team, we have worked with all women of color. I'm sorry, all women, mostly women of color, and or true allies of women of color to help them create their podcast. Everything from launching to podcast management to assisting with their graphics to consultations to sponsorships. We've done a lot of the damn things. And we've never offered an opportunity where we assist people in them creating their own podcast and them keeping their podcast going with the knowledge that we provided. So I was actually in a group called Luminary, and they challenged us to create a a new opportunity, a new signature offer to our potential clientele. And I thought that this was like the most genius idea because we had never offered this before. And it lit my light up and it excited me. And then I was like, oh, this is going to be so incredible. And then I met with somebody who was considering creating a podcast. And she, in turn, was the type of person that wants to know how the sausage is made. She wants to know how to continue to do the podcast if she decided to go out on her own after we launched it for her. So it was like the universe was telling me, yes, show people how to create that podcast and then let them maintain it, but with all of the information and the lessons that you have learned along the way. So is it just going to be me rambling on and on for the 8 weeks during this immersive experience? No, because like I said, I like people with me. I like community. I like my group. I like my homies. So in addition to myself, it's actually going to be Jessica Paschke. She is not only my client, but she is my friend and I absolutely adore her. And she is a freaking genius in helping you pull out your purpose and your meaning and your why. Because that is where we start. We have to start talking about our why when we are creating these podcasts. And what that does is that helps prevent pod fade. And what pod fade is, it's when you essentially create 4 podcast episodes and then you just dip and you run away. The reason why that happens is because if you're creating a podcast by yourself, 4 episodes is essentially a month. Within that month, you learn how much time it takes. You learn that you didn't know as much as you thought you did from YouTubing and Googling. And you learn that it's not an immediate return of investment. You have to stick with podcasting. It's not like you drop an episode and you get Joe Rogan numbers. If you don't have the Joe Rogan audience initially, you're not going to get Rogan numbers, especially if you're not marketing or talking about your podcast. Closed mouths don't get heard. So that is why we take a deep dive into your purpose, into your why of why you're doing this podcast. Then in the second week, I have Jacqueline Pommier coming. She is so incredible. She's so dope. She's so chic. And she is like the queen of storytelling. If you are not on her newsletter or her Facebook, forget it. You're doing yourself a disservice because her copy is like chef's kiss. So not only is she amazing at what she does, but she's also worked with like Starbucks and Nike, and she's going to talk about the importance of developing compelling stories that resonate with your listeners. So what can happen is people can get tongue-tied once a microphone is in front of them, and they can lose their train of thought. They can forget their actual story, their essence story. So Jacqueline's going to help them do all of the bullet points, develop the context, and share that story with their listeners, as well as with their guests if they want to have guests on their podcast. On the third week, we're going to talk about script writing. And script writing is important if you want to follow a flow for when you're doing your intro, your outro, and your trailer. Script writing isn't necessary for every single one of your episodes, but there should be bullets and talking points that you're going to be discussing within the body of your episode so you kind of don't get lost in the sauce. Also, we'll be talking about how long a podcast should be. And these people that are out here doing 3-hour podcasts, God bless, but that is like Goodfellas movie. If I had an opportunity to either listen to a podcast or to watch Goodfellas, I'm going to choose Goodfellas every time, hands down. It's not even a competition. Like, we don't get that airtime. So we talk about how to have these conversations with your guests, or if you're going solo, within the compounds of the statistics on how long a podcast listener usually listens to a podcast that they really love and that they subscribe to. So script writing, intros, outros, and having bullet points for those episodes really helps you keep in line and transition over to the next bullet that you want to be talking about. The fourth week, we're going to be talking about cover art. And Caroline Galva, she's my whole boo. She is been with me for years and years and years. All of the amazing things that you see on Crackers and Soup website, or the things that you see for our graphics or our client graphics, she's created that. I can create a stick figure that is amazing, but that is pretty much my artistic ability when it comes to graphic art and design. And if you follow me regularly or if you see my like nonsense posts, you saw a couple of weeks ago, I was completely losing my mind because I was trying to create a landing page. And Caroline, God bless her soul, she accepted like my 9:30 at night phone calls where I was just like, blah. But she does it with such ease, and she has a great understanding on what cover art is impactful. Also, there are certain parameters, especially if you want to be on Apple or Spotify, that you have to have in your cover art. I saw somebody who had a podcast coming out and they had profanity in their podcast. I questioned in my mind whether or not Apple was going to accept that because you can't really have the entire word when there's profanity on Apple. They usually won't allow it. So these are the type of conversations and real life examples we will be giving and discussing during the cover art. So as we go along to all of these things, and that was only 4 weeks. All of that information is in the first 4 weeks of Voice Your Vision. It's an 8-week long course. And all of that is like information that just people would pay hand over fist to get because we're setting you up for success. So, in addition to receiving a video of me introducing these concepts the Monday before, we're also having a coaching session that afternoon for that Monday. And we're also having a co-working session on that Wednesday. So every week there is 2 chances to actually engage with me and ask questions. And there's also going to be a private Facebook group so that you can also ask questions. So as we're talking about these concepts and the importance of each of them, you're going to be creating them in real time. So I just wanted to let you know that within that 4 weeks, if you're going along with us, what you'd already have is your why, your purpose. You'd have your topics of discussion for your story and how you're going to be sharing them. You'll have written the scripts for your intro, outro, and trailer, and you'll have your cover art idea designed. So yes, all of that in 4 weeks. And that's why I call it an immersive course, because it's not like you could just show up and like scratch your ass. You actually have to, it's actually really important to be doing the things in real time so that you can ask us any questions and we can be available to you. So in the 5th week, we're going to be talking about leveraging AI tools. So I, few and far between, use AI. But if you are doing it yourself, I want to set you up for success and I want you to have your time back. So I will be introducing different AI tools that I would use if I used AI and how to go about utilizing them. Then we get into what everybody wants to do: record and edit your podcast. So we talk about where you're going to be recording. Where is your recording area? What tools should you be using to record? So should you use software like Riverside? Should you use Zoom? What should you be utilizing to capture your pivotal moments when you're talking about your podcast? And then we talk about editing. So I'm going to tell you tips and tricks in regards to editing. I'm not going to show you how to go through a DAW. Well, I will show you how to load. My hair is getting in my mouth. See, this is why I don't do live by myself, because I'm a hot mess. We'll go through how to upload it into a DAW, but I'm not going to go through like Adobe Audition, Hindenburg, Pro Tools. I'll actually bring you through Audacity because that is number one, my favorite F word. It's free. And it is the most simplistic DAW to utilize when you are a new learner to editing. But I'll show you tips and tricks on what I do when I edit. Also, marketing your podcast, which is so important. So many people are like, nobody listens to my podcast. And I'm like, well, how many times did you market that your episode dropped? Once. What? The way that these algorithms be rhythming, a lot of people won't see that until like a month later. Then they've forgotten about it, they've gone on with their day, and they didn't get an opportunity to listen to your podcast, even though they wanted to. So we talk about how to go about marketing the fact that your podcast is launching, what to do the week before, what to do the week of, how to engage your friends and your followers and all of your business associates in the fact that your podcast is dropping and that you are excited about it. And then the last week, I am all about celebration. We celebrate your journey. So by the 8th week, by the final week of Voice Your Vision, you should have uploaded your trailer. So when you join our course, what I want us all to do is get together and have a listening party where we're listening to the trailers and then we're going and we're reviewing the trailer, 5-star reviews, because if we can jump off with 5-star reviews, it just gets better from there. So these are all of the things that we are going to be talking about in Voice Your Vision. This is why I'm so excited for this to happen, because I think that community is so important. And when you get stuck somewhere and you have somebody to answer your questions or to cheer you on, that is where like the magic happens. So if there are any questions, I am here to answer them. Let me just look to my right and I don't see any. Amy, yes, I too love listening parties. I think that they're genius and it just makes sense to hype each other up when you're actually already listening to it together and also sharing, what may be tweaked a little bit or what somebody really enjoyed. It's really a great way to go back and to learn lessons when you have the listening party. Also, we will talk about season one being the season for learning. So once you are finished with the group, You should be able to continue on with creating the episodes in the way and the steps in which we've already showed you how to create your first 4 episodes. You're going to actually like rinse and repeat. You're going to be doing the same things for each and every episode. Most seasons are 12 episodes. So, what I want you to do, and what I will encourage you to do during the immersive group, is to go back and to listen to each and every episode when it drops, like a listener. You're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn if you utilize a lot of filler words. I have a tendency to have long, exaggerated pauses because I am thinking about what I'm going to say. I have learned how to curtail my language. So when I'm speaking, I really don't use a lot of like and then so's, ums, and like and then so anymore. Because when we had our podcast, I listened to our podcast episodes and I was so exhausted with the amount of like and then so's that I was saying that I had to edit out that I thought, oh, hell no, I'm not saying this anymore. When you have a podcast, you will really find things about yourself that you didn't realize. And that really helps you to grow, especially if in your business, you're talking to a large group of people. In your business, you want to set yourself up as the authority figure. You want to set yourself up as the person that is in the know. And there can be some hesitancy in what you're going to say because you are concerned with how you say it. And a podcast really helps narrow down and helps you speak more eloquently. It also develops that know, like, and trust factor. There were so many clientele that I got from either our podcast or from being on another podcast and sharing my expertise. And that's because how I show up on podcasts is the exact same way I show up in discovery calls. It's the exact same way that I show up in coffee chats. It's the exact same way that I show up here. Again, shenanigans, tomfoolery, and ballyhoo, but I will bring you the gems. I will bring you the genius because I don't want to waste anybody's time. So if you're meeting with me, we can get down with a good, great conversation. And also, I want you to leave and say to yourself, I will remember Bethany Hawkins. That is important to me, which leads to being memorable. So if you are memorable for your podcast, if somebody looks at you as the genius and dot, 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 I know Amy's watching and she has chickens. If someone, as soon as I think of chickens, I think of Amy. If I had a question about chickens or if I had a question about jam, I would immediately go to Amy. You want that kind of attention when you are creating a business or when you're stepping into your genius. So when people say, hey, I need somebody to make jams for Target, I would immediately contact Amy and say, oh my gosh, so and so is making needs jams for Target. Get that money, get those foldable dollar bills. You have to submit your CV or your resume or even your jam recipe because you are the person that they want. You want to be memorable in that manner where when people see something that you may be great for, that you are the first person that they think of. So this is what Voice Your Vision is. It is a kumbaya, getting the work done, but doing it with support and love and fun. And by the end of it, you will have created a podcast. Our doors close August 30th, which is coming so quickly because our course begins Monday, September 9th. I would love to have a discovery call with you and answer any questions you may have one-on-one and make sure that you are a right fit for the program and make sure that we are a right fit for you because we want people that are going to be supporting and encouraging others while they are creating their podcasting journey. So I will drop those links in the comments. If you are watching this live, I absolutely adore you and thank you. And it's almost 12:30 here, so I'm going to go grab lunch. But if you're watching this on the replay, I adore you and I'm obsessed with you as well. Please drop a question in the comments or drop a comment in the comment, drop an emoji, drop a GIF or a GIF or whatever you want to call it, because I'm in my 40s and I don't know what that damn word is, but I know that I love them. So thank you so much. And let me know if you have any questions. And I can't wait to see you on my calendar.